How long did it take for the NHL to have young goalie on a one-day amateur trial contract in nationally televised game in the US? A few hours? Little? Let's close based on the behind-the-scenes conversations leading up to Tuesday's Maple Leafs Lightning game in Tampa. After all, it wasn't a game that meant a lot in the standings for either team. And the Leafs weren't going to play the starting players in their fourth game in 6 nights, which left them with no other option due to salary cap confusion. A quick recap for those who haven't been following the drama. In the Maple Leafs twist on April 2nd, senior Matt Murray suffered a concussion against Detroit. He has not yet returned to the team. 2 days later, the possible Joseph Woll was recalled in an emergency and started against Columbus. The Leafs soon shuffled their roster, dispatching Woll and recalling striker Wayne Simmonds. With only Ilya Samsonov in the crease, they signed an amateur deal with University of Toronto goalkeeper Jett Alexander and made him a backup. He played a minute in the Canadiens' 7-1 win and drew the ire of some Montreal players. The top contender, Knies, finished his college season at the Frozen Four on Saturday, while the Leafs signed him an entry-level contract on Sunday, which is common practice this time of year. The only problem was that his $925,000 salary put Toronto within $3,750 of the salary cap. The next day, the NHL denied the Leafs' request to recall Woll in an emergency. This is an exempt recall, usually after a team has shorted a player. Undeterred, the Leafs continued to use another amateur in Florida, Chenard of the OHL's Owen Sound Attack, as a backup on Monday night. Things got even more interesting on Tuesday 5th, as the Leafs skied in Tampa with 2 amateur goalkeepers in the morning. As Samsonov played 3 games in previous night and 5 nights, Toronto was rumored to be considering going into the game against Mighty Lightning without a contracted goalkeeper. Shortly after, the league granted the Leafs an emergency recall. And Woll started against Lightning as a backup for Windsor Spitfires network manager Matt Onuska in another amateur deal. Toronto has deployed a total of 4 ATO goalkeepers over the course of 4 days, 3 as substitutes at NHL games, and 1 for morning skating. Total cost under the salary cap: $0. The NHL's salary cap is in its 18th season. And while teams have flirted with their limits from the very beginning, it hasn't been as tested this year as it has been. 16 teams are currently on long-term injury reserves, allowing them to go over the limit due to injury. 10 teams spend $86.5 million or more, although the cap is set at $82.5 million. The Leafs are far from worst criminal when it comes to breaking the line, as Golden Knights and Canadiens both have a projected $96 million cap hit. But Toronto has occasionally expanded the bounda.